that. You can ask questions in the Q&A document, and you're of course also welcome to ask questions otherwise. Just beware that if you have the camera on or the microphone on, you will be recorded. And I may not always easily be able to remove that. But in exercise sessions, in discussion sessions, that will not be included in the parts I put up on YouTube. That's just going to be cut from the recording, so you're safe there. Okay, so what I was going to do here first, I am going to make sure that I actually have the exercises on the various centers machines here. And see at the top here, I have UPPMAX. This is the login node on UPPMAX. On the next one, I logged into Rackham. And then at the bottom here, I logged into Cosmos. And there I needed to enter my pocket pass also. As you can see here, there is often some information given when you log into a system. And in some cases, there's a message of the day, which might be important, at least at ASP.CII2N. It's sometimes written there if there is something going to happen to the system, if there's going to be maintenance or something like this. But let's start out by going and copying the exercises if you have not done so already. So at the ASP.CII2N and at Rackham, there is a storage project. And it is in this place here on ASP.CII2N. And you can see there are some people here who have created directories, and also here is also the exercise file, which can be copied from there as well, or you can use wget as was shown in the previous sessions. And it's also possible to clone it here from this repo with all the material. But let's go with the wget because that works every place. If you have not already created a directory for your own stuff, create one. I'm just going to create one here. I'm naming it for my username. It's not necessary, just name it something unique so that you can put your stuff there and not get it mixed up with everyone else's. And then on Cosmos, because Cosmos has a larger home directory than the other centers, then we have deemed it's not necessary to get a project storage there. So you will just use your home directory. And I already have created one here for the things here. In any case, let's fetch this here. And wget here. That. And also here. And in this case, I already had gotten it there, but I'm going to do it again. So I have a new copy. And then I will repeat what was done before. I will unpack the tarball. Like this. And now on each of them, there is a directory called exercises. Inside of that is the Julia, Matlab, Python, and R directories that Rebecca showed you. Okay, we are ready to go. So I will start talking about how to run Python in batch mode. And first, you may wonder what is a batch job if you haven't used this before, and also how to make a batch job. So First, I will give an introduction to the SLURM scheduler. I will show the structure of a batch script, and then there will be some examples that we'll go through. And these will now be important. We have projects at each of the centers. There's this one for Rackham, this one for Kebnekaise, and this one for Cosmos. Again, you also saw the storage space where that is located. But it is repeated here. So, batch scripts. If you run something long or resource intensive on the login node, then the login node will be slowed for everyone. And because of that, we may have to kill your jobs. So please don't do that. It just makes life harder for everyone. So only run very short, quick things that doesn't use a lot of resources on the login node. In addition, at many of the centers, there will not be, for instance, GPUs there and things like this. So the batch system and UPPMAX at HPC2N and at LUNARC are called SLURM. And that is the same for most of the Swedish HPC centers and many other centers as well. SLURM is an open source job scheduler. It provides three key functions. It keeps track of the available system resources, like how many GPUs, how many cores, how much memory, things like this. It enforces the local system resource usage and the job scheduling policies. So it makes sure that the jobs get what they need and in the order that they need it. It manages a job queue, distributes the work across resources according to policies. So there is a policy and what order jobs get to run. And it is based on the priority. And the priority is based on how much have you already run in your project, how much have your other partners in your research group run in the project. So you have a certain amount and it gets to be larger or smaller, the priority according to both how much you have used it and how much other people have used their projects. So in order to run a batch job, you need to create and submit a SLURM submit file. And these submit files, if you look online, Google it, you will see it can be called batch submit files, batch scripts, job scripts. There are many names for it. It's all the same thing. And there is some guides and documentation here for HPC2N and here for UPPMAX. I see we have failed to put in the link for the one at the LUNARC, but they have one as well. So what is the workflow? You write a batch script. In the batch script, you load modules you need. You activate any virtual environment. You ask for resources, depending on if it's a parallel job, serial job, if you need GPUs, etc. You can give commands to your job, for instance, your Python script. And then when you have written this, you submit it. And you submit that with sbatch and whatever you have named your script. This script, you can name it as you want, as long as you can recognize it. It's common to put an extension on them as .sh or as .batch or .sbatch. It's not necessary. You don't have to put an extension. You can put one. You can put any other one. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that it must be easy for you to find it. And if you have a lot of files in your directory, naming it in some certain way that makes sense to you might be a good idea. So you can always find it. So this batch job here, what are useful commands to the batch system? Well, as I just mentioned, to submit the job, you use sbatch and the name of the job script. To get a list of jobs, you'd use sq-u username or sq --me. If you check on a specific job, you would write scontrol show job and the job ID. The job ID you get when you submit a job. You can also find it with sq command. To delete a job, you can say scancel and the job ID, or you can say scancel -u, your username, to cancel all of your jobs. Then there are ways to get useful info about a job with the command SACCT, and these are some default commands, flags, sorry, that will give you much of the useful information, like how much memory it uses and things like this. You use the job ID, then you pipe it, that is, send it to another program and do less minus capital S. The reason for that is that this has a very wide output, very, very wide. And this makes it possible for you to scroll sideways with the arrow keys. If you are at Kebnekaise, you can use the command job minus usage and the job ID. It will give you a URL, and you can put that to your browser, and then you can look at a graphical interpretation of how much resources your job used. And you can see maybe that your job actually used more memory than you thought. And the reason it doesn't work is because it runs out of memory, for instance. And then you can remedy it by ask for more resources. Okay, let's look at an example Python batch script. So let's imagine we are running a serial code. And there are some serial examples here for Rackham, Kebnekaise, Cosmos. And also here is the Python script, if you want to look at it. Because this is a short script and it's serial, you could run it on the command line and then see that it does the same as it does in this batch job here. So first, there's this. It just has to be there. Think of it as an incantation or whatever. It tells the batch system I'm running in the shell bash. And shells are something in Linux where you can have different shells, different ways of interpreting commands. There are C shell, born shell, born again shell, whatever. It doesn't matter. The only thing you should know is you need to put this here because this is the only one that's compatible with the batch system. So put it there, don't think about it. Then you have these that are hashtag sbatch. Sbatch needs to be capital. It is a way to tell this batch system that this will be a command to it to check that you will use these resources. So these are commands directly to the batch system. And minus capital A and then the project ID, you always need that. And you put that there to tell it that the allocations will come from your project. You can see you have put a different one here for HPC2N and a different one for LUNARC. After the course, you will change it to a different one. This course will be valid for a couple of weeks more, I believe, on all the centers. So you can use it there, but after that, you need to get your own project. Then you say minus minus time equals, and then hours, minutes, and seconds. How long do you want the job to run? Don't ask for too much more than you need. It will take time to start because it needs to look for a slot that is available in the system that no one else is using, but also don't ask for too little because when the time is up, it cuts the job even if it's still running. So ask for enough, but not too much more. Then we are asking for one core because we have a serial job. Load any modules. Here I am loading Python 3.11.8. And as you remember from earlier, it is different from system to system. Here at UPPMAX, you load just the Python module and with lowercase. At HPC2N, there is also prerequisites and capital P for Python. In this case, also, I need a Python package that's in SciPy bundle. So I load that as well. And it is exactly the same at LUNARC. Then you run the Python script with Python and the script just like you would on the command line. So let's try do this. I go into the Python directory. You can see there is a lot of files here. And as mentioned before, the .sh ones are the one for the batch system. And in this case, it's called mmult, and there is one here for Kebnekaise. I will open it just to show you that it's the same one. And I will then submit it with mmbolt, and I will see if I can check on it before it finishes running. I could, as you see here, it mentions the job ID that we got here. It also lists it here. It tells you what partition it runs in. It's running on the Zen4 nodes. The name of the job, if you don't give a name in the list here, it's possible to do so with hashtag sbatch -J and the name you want it to have. And you can do that if you have many jobs, so you can find it in the list. It tells you what the user is, the status is running. It could be PD for pending, CD for completing, and things like this. It tells you how long it has run, how many nodes, or actually rather cores it has. This is not updated since long ago, I guess. And then what node lists you have. And it tells you that it's running on the node that is called B-CN1703, and that is a Zen4 node. Let's try to do the same here. And this is on Rackham. And here we also have the same programs. Let's go find this one here for Rackham. And then I will submit it. Because I wrote slowly, it's still running. It's actually pending. Okay. So let's also do it on Cosmos, just for completion. I spelled it wrong, I think. So. And it seems to have already run. Yep, I was just not fast enough. Okay, good. So as these have probably run now, you can see if you don't tell it to name the output file differently, it will name it slurm minus the job ID.out. And you can use any program, any editor to look in it. You could use Nano, VI. You can use cat, which is just outputting things to the screen, or you can use less or more, which is the same command. They are links to each other. They just show you what is in the file. So you can do like this here, and you can see it worked fine. An editor that is easy to use if you haven't used editors on Linux before is Nano, and you could open it with that one, and then you can scroll through it. To exit Nano, you hold down Control and type X. This hat, I think is the name of it, just means hold down Control and then give the command. So do that, and it will exit it. If you have edited it, then it will ask you if you want to save it or if you want to rename it and things like this. Okay, we have now seen it ran a serial job. So what if you are using a virtual environment in it?